Men, 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 they men, they men, 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 they men, they men, 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 they men. Ooh. Hey, this is Anthony's Horror and More. Today we're gonna talk about men. And I checked out this movie last night. And it is really fucking weird, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a really weird movie. um, what can I say about this movie? Let's see. It's very direct. It's directed very well. Written well, but it's weird. You know what I mean? So like, you have to be interested in like what the material is. You know, it's an oddball one, but it's directed very well. It's acted extremely well, and I've never even. I don't think I've seen any of these actors in anything else, but maybe. It's from the director of Ex Machina and Annihilation, of course. Alex Garland, he's the director, yes. And it says here, I'll read the synopsis here, it's on the back. Feverish, shape-shifting, new horror film. Harper, played by Jessie Buckley, retreats alone to the beautiful English countryside in the aftermath of a personal tragedy, hoping to have found a place to heal. But someone or something from the surrounding woods appears to be stalking her. What begins as a simmering dread becomes a fully formed nightmare, inhabited by her darkest memories and fears. So yeah, but she kills it. She's great in this. All the acting is really great. There's one dude in here that plays like multiple characters. Oh, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review too, by the way. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. But yeah, there's one guy in here that plays like 8 characters or so. I would say like 5 or 6 of which had like speaking roles. I think 5 of them had speak, because he played like the bartender spoke, the cop spoke, the caretaker spoke, the kid spoke, and the priest. And then there was like the weird thing with the shit growing out of the face, and then there were the couple guys at the bar or whatever. So I think it's about 8 people, and then I think 5 actually, he had to like really flesh out his characters. But yeah, this was pretty great, and it looked beautiful. I got to give it to A24. Like, I don't always love all their movies, but they always look amazing. They always look beautiful. That's one thing about them. And they're always directed really well too. They always get some great directors. Because they're shooting all these movies on a budget, and they just look fantastic. You would never know it, but they do it smart. They keep it in like just a couple locations, you know what I mean? Do a lot of very nice like overhead aerial type shots. Like there's like a scene where she's going through she's going through the woods, she's on this path, and there's just all this beautiful greenery surrounding her, these trees and everything, and then she sees this tunnel in the distance, and then she starts like yelling into the tunnel, and it creates like an echo effect, and it kind of it starts to sound like a song, and just very creative things like that. Just this movie is very choose the right word here. I don't want to say I say methodically paced, deliberately paced. Some might call it slow and boring. You know what I mean? I enjoy those type of movies that have a slow pace. When you're thinking about pacing with this movie, think of The Shining and think of The Changeling. Okay, those are 2 examples. Very like slow movies, but done very well. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it does get weird. This movie gets really fucking weird in the 3rd act. And I'm assuming most of you have seen it if you're listening to the spoiler review, but I don't know, there's a lot of different symbolisms and things to take away from this movie. A lot of like religious themes, like Adam and Eve type, themes and stuff like that. And, her taking a bite of the apple out of the orchard, and, that naked guy running around, he's starting to have all the leaves and grass and all that shit growing out of his face. It's very reminiscent of like the Adam and Eve, like, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a super religious guy, but I know that much, But yeah, so that was interesting. And then, she was abused, the lead actress, Harper, played by Jessie Buckley, was abused by her husband. Sounds like mentally and then physically towards the end. Because they were going through a divorce and everything, or she wanted to get a divorce, and then he said he would kill himself if she divorced him, and then he committed suicide / maybe accidentally fell. In the movie they say that he was trying to climb down to get back onto their balcony and then slipped and fell and got impaled on some spikes. So, you don't really know if he really committed suicide or if it was just an accident. And then, and then the movie is just, it's very interesting. I mean, I guess the best way to say is she's just being haunted by her ex, who's abusive towards her. And he just wants to keep haunting her over and over and over again, taking on the form of these, different people. And it's very it's very like just it's so different. It's such a different, I think that's why I like it so much, because it's just weird and different. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things going on with this movie, but I just love the way it was developed too, especially the first 2 acts. I mean, it's just it's slow, but it's done so well. Just really, I don't know. It's a hard movie to review, because I don't even think I fully understand it. I mean, I think the point of it, and let me know in the comments what you guys think of it, but I think part of it is being haunted by your past, don't be haunted by your past and stuff like that. And another part of it is, you could, obviously see the symbolism of, what it's like to look at things through a woman's eyes, a female's eyes, seeing how, because it goes, there's a lot of scenes where it's like, there's a lot of things where the man, where they're in the bar scene and the guy keeps trying to offer to buy her a drink, and she's like, I can buy my own drink, I'm good. And he's like, no, your money's no good here, I'm buying you a drink or whatever. And he's just, and the bartender does what the guy says, and he doesn't take her money or whatever. And just stuff like that. And you could interpret that as, a woman doesn't want you to buy her drink because she doesn't want you to think you're buying her, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And it's like, she can just buy her own drink. She can afford to buy her own drink. She doesn't want to, she just wants to go into the bar and just kind of be left alone. But as soon as she walks in there, there's 3 guys surrounding her, basically. Well, not surrounding her, but, the one guy's clearly, wanting to buy her a drink, probably hit on her. And then the cop comes up, and then there's the bartender too. So it's just just men everywhere. And then there's other things at the beginning, she's carrying her bags, and then the guy insists on carrying her bags over and over, and she's like, I can do it, really? And he's like, no, I'll do it, I will carry the bags, blah, blah, blah. And just a lot of chivalrous type things like that. And some of that I think is okay. I mean, I would also, as a man, I would carry a woman's bags too for her or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't think that's being overbearing as a man. I think that's, I mean, if she was insistent that she didn't want me to touch her bags, then I wouldn't, If she said, no, don't touch my bags, I wouldn't. But I would definitely offer at the very least, because I just think that's a nice thing to do, If it was an old couple that were in their 90s or something, they needed help, I'd do the same thing. It's not really about being, it's just, I just think it's, a nice thing to do. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. The scene where she's sitting down with the priest, and then he puts his hand on her and on her on her thigh or on her leg, and kind of keeps it there for a minute, and you can see she's a little just a little uncomfortable with it, but he's a priest, so maybe she's just kind of lets it slide. But there's a lot of stuff like that, But all of this is her, how I interpret it anyways, is her being haunted by her abusive husband. These are all just different forms, of him. So I thought that was very interesting. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't know really how to take this movie. It's because the ending is just so crazy. You know how the men keep giving birth, like the one man gives birth to another man, then gives birth to another man, then gives birth to another man, like this cycle, and then until finally the last one gives birth to her husband, her late husband, or her late husband who killed himself. um and it's just, you know, so I'm trying to read like what the symbolism is with that. You know, is that supposed to mean that are men jealous that we can't, you know, is that in the director, because the director is also the writer of this movie, like, so in his eyes, is it, you know, are men like jealous in a way that they can't give birth, give life, and that's part of, like, is that part of it, like we're a little resentful that we can't do that, even though we do. I mean, you still need, you know, our sperm or whatever, but you know what I mean, it's not like we're completely out of it. But or is it the constant like cycle of men, like just men creating more men, or like, you know what I mean, like there's, I don't know, there's a lot of, I was trying to figure out like what the, if there was like a deeper meaning that was supposed to be behind that, because that whole scene, that whole third act went on for a while, and I'm just like, and I wonder what he's trying to like say with that. Like it's just a constant cycle of like abusive men that come out or whatever, you know, or something like, or yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm still kind of like breaking it down. This is kind of more of a reflection video than like you know, a review or anything. I'm just kind of like reflecting on it, and yeah, so I'm not sure. There's a lot of different symbolism and things going on with this movie that it's very difficult to break down. I didn't watch any deep dives or anything into this movie, you know, because the only one person that can really tell you what it's truly about, like all the way, is the writer, you know. So only he can really tell you. But it's kind of funny because the writer is a man, you know, so it's kind of funny, like, you know, a man like writing like what it's like to be a woman and going through abuse and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of funny, you know what I mean. I was surprised more people didn't throw a little shade towards that, just because it's like, because this movie really does lean into that, you know what I mean, what it's like to be a woman looking through the eyes of a woman, how men treat women, and not all of it's even bad, but some of it's just a little overbearing, you know, like you know, there are times where she's just afraid, you know, and uh, you know what I mean? It's just, it just shows like sometimes, I think part of it was trying to say like that men can be intimidating without even meaning to be intimidating sometimes towards women. You know, you know, it can be scary as a woman being around a bunch of men or whatever, just because, you know, you're worried about, you know, what might happen or whatever, you know, like it's like that scene at the bar and stuff like that. And you know, sometimes you could just be intimidated, and as a man you don't really even think of stuff like that, you know, like I'm not intimidated by being around a bunch of other men or a bunch of women or anything like that, you know, but a woman does have to think, you know, and be more mindful of her surroundings and stuff like that, you know. So there's a lot of stuff like that in here. Um, you know, is the movie anti-men? Because I've heard some people say that and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's anti-men. I don't think that's what it was trying to do. You know, I think it was just trying to show a woman's perspective, and then just kind of try to, you know, just give her, you know, it's her story. She's the protagonist. We're looking at it through her eyes. And I think that's all the movie was, you know, really trying to showcase. And yeah, I mean, I can believe that. I mean, you know, we all have mothers, you know what I mean? Some of us have sisters and aunts and all that stuff, you know, and, you know, I get it. I think this movie did a better job of breaking that down than other shows do. You know, there's a lot of like television shows and even other movies that really try to shove it down your throat, like this is why it's so hard being a woman and da 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 da, and really try to ram that down your throat. I know they did that in She-Hulk recently. I don't watch She-Hulk, but I saw that clip, because a lot of people were bitching about it, and where she goes off about like it's how she controls her anger because she's constantly being, she's constantly being like, she constantly has to deal with like men being like overbearing or men being controlling and men, being the boss and this and that. You know what I mean? She goes into like a whole spiel. I'm sure you've seen the clip or whatever out there. And this movie, Men, also tackles that like similar thing, but it does it in a way better way. It doesn't like force it down your throat or shove it down your throat, at least not to me. I wasn't getting that a ton. But I could see how some people would take it that way. I think sometimes people just take movies a little too personally too. Like, don't take it like, so personally. Like, it's not, I don't think it's saying all men are evil. I think it's just saying that, sometimes we might not understand how, I don't know, overbearing. I don't know, or just I don't know how to say it, but just like without even really knowing it, So yeah, it tackles a lot of those issues. I'm just trying to think about the ending too, because there's multiple scenes where there's these like little, like what are those things called? What are those little things called? There's like these little like things going through the air, like from like flowers or whatever, that are like going through the air, and it's throughout the entire movie. These little, like buds or whatever coming from like the flowers. They're constantly like, you'll see them in multiple scenes in the movie, and then at the end of the movie they like go into her mouth. You know what I mean? And I don't know what the symbolism was for that. I didn't. Maybe I missed something. Once again, in the comments, let me know. You know what I'm talking about? Like the little, what are those freaking things called? But yeah, those little. It's like you see them all the time in the ground. You like rip them out, and they're just those little like, you like blow on them, and they like scatter. That like, I think it's when the flower dies, and then it just turns into those little like buds or whatever, and it just like goes off. I remember playing with them a lot when I was a kid. I forgot what they're called though, but that was in the movie. And they kept showing them like flying throughout, and like I said, at the end they all like went into her mouth, and then I don't know what the symbolism was for all of that. That went over my head. That I didn't get. I got like a lot of the Adam and Eve stuff, and then I got like a lot of the the man, that symbolism and all that kind of stuff. But that one kind of went over my head. I wasn't sure what that was for. And then what else was there? There's that. Oh, her sister. Her sister was, she was pretty, I liked her. I liked the sister in this movie. She was funny. She kind of gave a little bit of levity to a very serious film, so that was good. God, the actor that played all those characters, that guy was crazy. He did a great job. Especially the kid. The kid with like, they used like some weird like, deep fake technology to make the guy's face look younger, like he was a kid. And it wasn't the best looking, but I think it kind of added to it almost, because it made him look even creepier. The fact that like it does look so fake, it kind of made the kid look even creepier. I was like, Jesus. So I thought that was pretty cool too, and just all the everything at the end too. When she cuts the guy, cuts his hand down the middle, like she uses a knife and it goes just all the way down the hand, so constantly like his hand and his fingers are all like this, and it's that was cool looking too, because then every different form of him had the same messed up hand. I thought that was interesting as well. Because obviously that was symbolic of when her husband, fell to his death. He was impaled, so like they had like the same wounds that he had, like the ankle was broken, and then that, you know the whole arm, hand being ripped down the middle there. That was all. So I got all that. That was, that was good. But yeah, there's some, man, but it gets very gory and whatever towards the end. I know some people were uncomfortable with it. It didn't make me uncomfortable. I mean, it was gross looking, but I wasn't really super uncomfortable. Like gore and gross stuff like that doesn't usually get to me too much. But it was definitely different. I mean, it was, I was like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like this before, but it didn't like make me sick or anything. It was just, it was just really weird. I don't know what else to say. And it's like men giving birth to other men, and the cycle just keeps continuing. And like I said, I'm not quite sure what the symbolism is there, is it like women are a bit resentful that they give birth to these men that end up sometimes becoming so hateful or resentful, or just feel like not as strong, and I'm not sure what the symbolism there was, but it definitely was talking a lot about that, how like how the husband kept trying to make the wife feel bad because he said that she was making him feel weak, and he was helpless in what was going on and all this, and that's when he hit her, instead of just having like a conversation about it, or just accepting what she's saying. Like, look, dude, she wants a divorce. She wants a divorce. You just gotta let it go. You know what I mean? But you know, but yeah, showcasing like when words stop working, how like a man will just use his fist. You know what I mean, or something like that. Like there was that too, which I thought was interesting. But I don't. Once again, though, it's just this relationship between these two characters. I don't think, I don't think that, I don't think it's trying to say all men are evil. It was just talking about like their relationship, and sometimes I guess it can be like a cycle, as well. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of like her being haunted by this guy, and there was a lot of symbolism and everything in there, but it was a good movie. I mean, it really was. It was solid. You definitely want to pay attention though. Put your phone away, make sure it's really dark out when you watch it. Really give it your full attention. But I mean, I definitely think it's worth a watch. I mean, I would, I'm not mad. I mean, I only paid $20 for this. It's $20 on Amazon, or at least it was. Should still be. And then I got it actually at Walmart. It was $20 at Walmart as well. If you go to Target, it's going to be 25. So I would say buy it from Amazon or buy it from Walmart, unless Target might price match it though, so you could probably get it from there too. But I definitely think it's worth a watch, man. Yeah, this guy right here, this actor, he's the guy that played like 8 different people or whatever. He did a phenomenal job, and it looked great. God, it really was beautiful. This is a beautiful looking film, and this actress, she did such a good job. Excellent job. Jessie Buckley. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look for her. I'll have to look for her, see what other movies she's done. I'm sure she'll be an up-and-comer, though. I don't think this will be the last we see of her, because she was just too good. Yeah, A24 did another, just great job. A24 did this, they did X, which was fantastic. I mean, I think they've been putting out some really quality, like horror type movies, horror movies. I mean, yeah, just really creepy, atmospheric, good directing. They've been putting out some really good stuff. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they do next, because at least it's different. I just love that these movies, they're different. It's not the same old weird shit over and over. Or the same old boring dumb shit over and over. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Screams, I love the Halloweens, I love all that stuff, but it gets a little old sometimes. It's like, because they've been done to death. And I want to see some new characters. Give me some new horror icons. Give me some new directors. I want more Ex Machinas and Annihilations and Men. This Alex Garland guy's just done, his career is just banging. All those movies are fantastic. I would compare this, once again, in terms of pacing, to Annihilation as well. Like, Annihilation is another pretty slow build up, slow burn type movie. Even Annihilation was probably faster than this, because at least there were a couple of action beats in there. This is definitely like the slowest, I would say, that he's done. I'd say Ex Machina is probably the most rewatchable. I could watch Ex Machina once a year easily, if not a couple times a year. This I'll probably revisit again in another like couple of years or so. Maybe I'll revisit it sooner if I do a deep dive on it and figure out all the symbolism. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it again just to see. But yeah, I definitely, I recommend it. Yeah, please check it out, man. We want to support movies like this, and I get it. Not everybody likes it. You don't have to love it. You know what I mean? It's just, at least it's something different, though. But so yeah. But anyway, guys, thanks for sticking it through. If you, like I said, this was kind of more of just like my thoughts and reflect. Like, I didn't really, I didn't do any deep dives or look into this. I kind of just wanted to share how I felt about the movie and talk about some of the symbolism, and you guys be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think some of the symbolism was, and if there's anything I missed that you guys thought was important, and leave a thumbs up, please. It really helps. And subscribe to the channel if you like what I'm talking about. Kind of, I usually talk about horror and collectibles and all sorts of stuff, but horror is my passion. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Anthony's Horror and More, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.